Hello! Today I'm testing out the SpeedyBee LED Kit, and normally I'd be holding it up and saying here's the LED kit, let's take a look, but it's already been opened and I've installed it on something because I got a bit over excited about it. I actually had this since before Christmas, I just haven't had a chance to get to it. It's been in the to-do pile. This has been designed to go with the Bee25 Pro frame, which is SpeedyBee's little sort of CineWhoop type idea, and they happened to send that along, and so I thought I'd just install it on there. This is not a complete installation. They very kindly sent me the frame and some motors, but I haven't got an ESC board or a flight controller in there, and the one I'd already had from them is still in my F450 ready to be reflown. But this frame's quite interesting as well. As far as CineWhoops go, I don't really like CineWhoops. Because they're heavy and there's a compromised performance about what you get if you didn't have these ducts. But these are quite thin ducts and lots of people seem to be into them, so that's very fair. Anyway, the kit is already installed around the side there, but let's go to close up and I'll show you exactly how it went in, what you can do with it, and then I'll slightly disassemble it to show you the bits of it. Obviously we have some pictures so you can see what it looked like in the bag and exactly what you get in the kit. And I should say, although it's kind of designed for this and it fits perfectly, it should fit on other CineWhoops or even planes and stuff if you want to, because at the end of the day it will just take a battery voltage from 2 to 6S and then you can make it light up the way you want it to. So just a quick few words about the frame, and certainly if you're going to get it, it's worth looking at the manual because the bits don't go together in an obvious way, but once you sort of understand it, it's fine and it feels very secure. You will notice though that there's very hard, if I had my FC in there, it'd be hard to get into. There's a thing to help sort of heat shielding here. If you've got your DJI or whatever thing stuck there, then it should help dissipate this heat with this metal, presumably aluminium sort of tray there. The thing I've installed is under here. I'll take that off later, but you'll see me pressing the button sometimes, which looks like that. And as you can see, we've just got some wires going in here, and then what we've got, I'll just pull bits out because I haven't stuck it in. We've got this LEDs, and it's sticky packed, so you can put it on anything. With this, it just tucks in pretty tightly, and that goes perfectly around this sized quad, which is about standard for CineWhoops. It might be a bit different, but it seems to fit. The other thing I wanted to highlight as well, that because you can't get in, there were a nice few little things in here. For example, one bit that I haven't put in is this bit that would go at the back and would sit sort of under that bit like there. Now what this has is a space for your T antenna here. This is for your VTX antenna. You've got little accessories here so you could put a GPS holder on if you wanted to. But as I mentioned, it's all hidden away, but what you've got here, you've got a USB-C connector, and then you've got an extension lead, and the idea is you could plug that in to your regular flight controller, and then if you want to do any changes, rather than have to take it apart, you just plug in. And it's kind of similar about the dual use of this little button. This button will change your effects or turn the lights on or off, but if you wire it up to your boot pin on your flight controller, you can then hold it in, plug your USB in, and it will go into bootloader mode, which is a pretty neat idea. So I'm going to plug this thing in. As I said, there's no flight controller or ESC, so what you'd have is this is from the little board, and that would plug in to somewhere on the flight controller. Basically you just need to feed it battery voltage to 6S. I'm just going to run it directly from a battery, so let me just plug that in. Okay, we plug in, as you can see, what it basically does is come up with the last effect. And as I said, we've got that little button here, and if we press the button, we will go through the effects. So this one's called Breathe. I'll just turn my lights down here just to show you a little bit more of it so you can really get the impression. They are pretty bright, they will show up nicely in daylight. This is some sort of rainbow effect. All very pretty. Forgot what they called that one. Another rainbow type thing. That's the flame one. And back to halo. If I hold this button in for 2 seconds, it turns it off. And if I hold it in again for 2 seconds, it turns it back on. And what will happen, it will, if we power this back up again, it will default over to the last effect you've used. And I'm going to power it back up at this point, because what I want to do is connect to it via the SpeedyBee app. Because aside from this working if you just press the button, it also has a Bluetooth receiver. So powering back up again, and you can see it goes back to the last thing. Now I've already connected to this, so what I'm going to do, it comes up as a SpeedyBee Meteor, and we're going to go into LED strip editor. And once it connects to that, it basically shows us what we're doing at the moment, and then we can swap over. So the breathing effect, meteor effect, whatever you like. And you're probably thinking, oh, I don't want something that's going to be Bluetooth mode for this long. So what happens when it first comes on, you've got, I think, 60 seconds to connect to it, and while you're connected it stays in. But if nothing happens, it turns itself off, so you don't ever get the idea that, you know, something's going to be interrupting your signal. The other thing you can do just in the app is edit things. So this is the halo effect. You see it's quite a sort of slow effect. So what we can do with that is change the colours. We can change the brightness. It's very bright at the moment, which I guess how you want it. Looks a bit dull if you do that. And the movement speed. So we can have those little lines going a bit faster. And you can do this with all of these. You can change various aspects of it. Different colour blendings here. All sorts of ones here. Bubble mode. Yeah. Firework mode. There's lots to play with. The really exciting thing about this is if I go back and press on it, one thing you'll notice is it got FC tuning. So SpeedyBee have brought out various flight controllers which have a Bluetooth adapter enabled. This has got its own Bluetooth adapter. If you were to wire that up to a TX and RX pairing and put them in NSP mode, this would then act as a bridge to control your flight controller via Bluetooth. So you could have a flight controller that's not got Bluetooth on it, connect it to this, and then you could go in with the SpeedyBee app and change your settings that way, which I think is pretty neat. So I'll just quickly unscrew this so I can actually show you what's in there, because there's not much. So I've just undone the screws so I could lift this off, and you can actually see what this little thing looks like. Because as I said, although it fits in this frame perfectly and is kind of designed for it, you don't have to use it. And you could see you could put something like this on any sort of plane or quad or whatever you liked, and it's easy to extend this wire if you wanted to. And on the other side here, we've got the TX and RX pins there, so you can hook it up to the flight controller, as I said before, which is something I think I'd like to try. And as I said, basically you could just take this and stick it on wherever you want to, and you get all these bits in the box. You get these extension cables, this thing with a couple of screws if you've got this particular one. So yeah, pretty flash if you want to, you know, pimp out your quad, make it do dancey lights and stuff like that. Well, there you go. That is the SpeedyBee Bee25 Meteor LED, although it doesn't have to go in the Bee35. That's the important thing to think about. As for this frame, as I said, I'm no fan of cine whoops, but I'm going to try it out, because one thing I'm really liking the idea of is being able to just change a flight controller into something I can attach via the SpeedyBee app just by plugging this LED into it. So I'm going to find something to install there and yeah, see what the rest of it needs and things, and I'll be flying that later on, along with many of the other Part 2s when it gets to better weather, which is not yet, but hopefully will be. In the meantime, hope that review's been useful, and I will catch you next one. Bye for now. Well, you've made it to the end of the video, so thanks once again for watching. If you like what you saw, then please consider subscribing, and if you really like what you saw, then be sure to check out the link to my blog for a variety of ways in which you can help support this channel.